Hey everybody, it's your girl Coco Kitten Bruja here, and it is time for this week's segment for the Secure the Bag course. What you see is your weekly prosperity ritual made specifically for those who are watching or listening to this video right now. The only thing you need to do to tap in is to do our typical breath work, right? That's 3 deep breaths in through the nose, inhaling higher vibrating energy, holding it in your solar plexus and getting your stomach tight for 3 seconds, and then exhaling through the mouth, releasing all of your lower vibrating energies, right? And then when you're led, focus your intent into the candle for about 10 seconds, right? Be sure to do all of the YouTube stuff, the like, subscribe, the share, hit the bell for notifications. And honestly, if you want to support this channel to keep this course going, join the membership. There are different tiers that you can add depending on how much you'd like to invest in the channel. And now that we have all of that stuff out of the way, let's dive in, right? So this week we're covering our true wants and desires. So now that we understand the kind of mind frame we should be working in as far as sovereignty, solicitation, prosperity, consciousness, poverty consciousness, all of that stuff. And if you didn't check that out, check last week's segment. Let's start talking about how that fits into what we want, right? So first and foremost, do you guys really know what you want out of life? Do you know what you want in this very moment right now? Me personally, I want to eat breakfast, but like that's different. Let's think a little bit bigger. I think that's a big problem that a lot of us have, is that we know what we want as far as the end result, right? The long term. But we don't really know what that looks like or how to get there when we talk about this very moment right now. The small things, the small wants and desires that actually lead up to it. So let's talk about it, right? No matter what you do, whether it's prayers, rituals, setting intentions through meditation, carrying mojo bags, talismans, whatever, right? We all want things like peace, prosperity, love, all of these really vague, huge things, right? But what do you really, really want? Like, what does it look like? What does it feel like? And where are you now in comparison to where you need to be? It's in questions like this that things become not only manageable, but meaningful, right? Now, of course, this is a money course. We're talking about prosperity and healing from spiritual trauma and things like that. But this week's lesson is actually going to be more of a life topic with references to money, because I feel like this is a very important message that kind of builds the foundation to everything, not just prosperity. And honestly, I want to take a moment and really reflect on some things, because as I was going through like my archive of notes for this particular topic, I really saw how far I've come in the past 18 months. I was actually a bit emotional seeing the things that I've overcome and where I'm headed, right? And I am immensely grateful to Spirit for every single lesson I've learned to get me to an elevated sense of peace, of like love, prosperity, all of that, but most of all, healing, right? Like, ooh, ashe. But it is with the things that I'm bringing to you guys, it is with the things that I'm talking about, that I realize is what got me to the place I am right now, right? So with that being said, let's take it back about 18 months ago. And I was planning on moving out of my marital home. I prayed, I cried, meditated, all of that stuff over this moment, right? I knew that I had to leave. And then I realized that I can't ask Spirit to help me with the home if I don't really know what I want, right? Because keeping it vague, I want to move. I want to be somewhere else. I don't want to live here anymore. Very vague. I want a house. Very vague, right? If I kept it that vague, I would have wound up in like a 2-bedroom shack somewhere, right? It's still a home, and Spirit still provided. But now I got an outhouse with no washing machine. I got, I got, 2 windows out the whole joint. You see what I'm saying? I was in a space of desperation, and I just wanted to get out of the energy that I was in. So all I knew is that I wanted to leave. That's all I wanted. That was the only long-term goal, was to leave. But that's a poverty mindset. That is not really giving yourself much room to expand, right? That's a very constricting idea. It's just, you just know you want to leave. But where are you going, right? I had to sit down and focus on exactly what I wanted my home to be, where I wanted it to be, and how much I wanted to pay in rent. And when I narrowed down my focus, I received what I wanted and then some. I had to shift my focus and my mind for that to happen, right? I had to focus. I had to narrow down this long-term want into something that was manageable, something that I could actually work with. But let's actually apply this to money, right? Let's say my long-term goal is to just want more money. Makes sense. But I don't know what I want in terms of how much I want, how it's going to come to me. Sitting in a poverty consciousness, I just blindly try to manifest money with no clear intent or focus. So, I'm asking for prosperity. I want more money, but I didn't put any type of intentions. I didn't put any type of roadmap there. So now I'm sitting up here working a double 16-hour shift. I'm pretty sure that's illegal. You can't be forced to work like that. But y'all know what I'm saying. I now have more money, and spirit provided, but now I'm tired and I want to practice workplace violence. You see, there is a difference in your approach. There's a difference between blind manifestations and manifesting with intent, with a roadmap, right? And it's not just about the details, though. It's really sitting down with yourself and understanding what you need to do when it comes to these details, what all is involved before you even decide that you want this to be a long-term goal, long-term desire, excuse me. So let's go back to the moving, right? Out the gate, I said I wanted to be a homeowner. This was before I even realized that renting was really where I was going to wind up. I wanted to be a homeowner. I know where I want to be, but not what I want to do to get there. What are the smaller desires to get there, right? And after a while, I actually started to look at these details, because you can have a roadmap, but understanding the roadmap in comparison to where you are in this very moment can make the difference into whether or not this long-term desire is something that's for you or not, right? So, like I said, I knew where I want to be, but not what I want to get there. And after a while, I started looking at the details. So, you want to be a homeowner, right? What do you need to do to be a homeowner? I started looking at credit. I started looking at market rates, income ratios, and all of this other boring stuff, right? But it made me realize that I have a few steps I need to take before being a homeowner even comes into play. So now I want to be debt free. I want to have a certain credit score. I want to have a certain APR, right? I now understand the smaller desires that plays a part in the long-term goals. Not goals, the long-term desires, the long-term wants, right? And I know some of you are thinking, why do I keep correcting myself? Those are just goals. Why not say goals? Because to me, they aren't. I use the term wants and desires over goals because you need to be as passionate about fixing your credit as you are, as passionate as you are about being a homeowner, right? You want to be a homeowner, then be passionate about wanting to have a 720 FICO. I feel like personally, goals feel very jobby. I feel like there's such a work related, like employment related connotation put on the word goals for me. And like, I hear the word goals and I think of work. I think of labor. But if it's something I want, if it is a desire, then it feels more like a passion, right? Something that is fueling me to elevate. And I'm 10 times more likely to get it done when I'm passionate about it as opposed to feeling like it's labor. And of course, as always, this is what works for me. Hopefully it works for you. But if you feel like goal is a better word for you, by all means, use the word goal, right? So I want you guys to think about your long-term desires, whether, it's more money, love, like whatever your long-term desire is. Think about the details, right? And take your time. Pause the video, come back to it, whatever. You don't have to rush. You don't have to do it right now. Some of you may already know, and that's great. But if you don't, take a moment, right? We'll circle back to it at the end. Now, I'm going to step outside of the money box for a second. Let's talk about love, right? When it comes to love, while you've put yourself in a space to receive love, what do you want for yourself to prepare for it, right? Do you want to focus on self-love? Do you want to focus on healing? Do you want to focus on stability? Do you want to focus on what you learned from past relationships? What do you want while you wait on this alignment with love? This is a formula that works on everything, guys, right? Like, I let spirit know that I'm open to receive my soul tribe, right? But I realize I also want to heal from my trust issues, because trust issues goes beyond romantic relationships. We can all have trust issues with anybody, with family, with friends. It doesn't matter. Co-workers. I realized that I wanted to vibrate higher to attract other healed or at least healing individuals in my tribe, right? And it took me a while to realize the small things I want in order to get to this long-term desire, right? I realized the roadmap to my soul tribe comes down to my own personal healing. It comes down to the discernment and awareness I have with the people in my environment. There's all these small desires that played a part into me having people who I consider to be my soul tribe. And they're all individuals who are healing, who are elevating, who are doing what needs to be done, right? Because we all have these long-term goals of meaningful connections, but we all realize that comes with small wants and desires of healing, of understanding discernment, understanding awareness, understanding what type of people we want around us, right? And there's been so many times where I felt lost or like I wasn't being heard when it came to my long-term desires. Like, it made me feel lonely, abandoned, depressed, feeling like my manifestations and rituals and divinations and all of that stuff were being done in vain, like I had no proof of power, right? And it took me a while, but I realized it's because I didn't know what I wanted in order to get those long-term desires. I wasn't doing anything to align myself to what I was asking for. But by simply understanding the small desires, the small wants, right, I can see the alignment long-term because it becomes more tangible. It becomes more manageable instead of just focusing on this huge thing with no way of getting there. I've now broken it down to where I can actually see each step and ultimately see the goal line, right? I may not be a homeowner this year, but I am definitely aligning to myself to be one by the end of 2023. I no longer feel abandoned. I feel focused, right? I don't feel lost because now I actually have a roadmap to home ownership. And it's now every single step of the way is now a small desire, a small passion, something that is fueling me and pushing me ahead to home ownership. So how does one build a roadmap, right? Let's start with what the long-term desire is. Take, for example, I don't know, money. This is a money course, right? So let's talk about money. But just to say you want money is a very vague desire, but it's also one that's universally, we can all relate to. So more money for the long term. That's what we're going with. Let's break that down to some smaller questions that may help you narrow your focus. First question, why? Why do you want more money? Of course, more vague answers, because this is such a huge thing. The first layer is going to be more vague answers, right? I want to live better. I want to have stability. Makes sense. Let's take those, right? Next question. How does money give you security? So now we can narrow the focus to those long-term wants. Let's say in order to get stability, you want a better house. That'll give you peace of mind and stability. Or maybe it's a car, right? Now we're getting somewhere. We have a focus. We'll say the car is the focus now, right? Let's use the car. So this brings us to the next question. What steps do we take to obtain the narrow desire? Okay. What can you do to buy, fix, or trade in the car? Well, we have to look at your credit. We have to look at your income. We have to look at your spending. Because when we talk about money, if you don't know how to budget, you shooting yourself in the foot off top before you take the first step, right? The long-term desire is still there, right? Getting the car is still there, and ultimately the stability, the money, right? So getting the car is still there. But now we have the puzzle pieces laid out to bring them together. Once we get to this level, we now have a roadmap of short-term desires that will build the bigger picture of long-term success, right? The big picture is more money and more stability. The roadmap starts with the car. The smaller desires, the smaller wants, working on your spending, working on your credit, right? Finding ways to build your income, giving spirit opportunities to bring more money to you, which that in itself is a whole nother topic, right? But these small desires are the puzzle pieces. And the more you start to connect them, the more you start to build on the smaller desires, you create the full picture of stability and more money. Because I know for a lot of us, having a car means better opportunities to make more money, which is ultimately the long-term desire. So let's go back to the long-term desire that I had you guys think about. Your homework this week is to create a roadmap. Take your time and don't rush this. Because a lot of times when we start rushing things and we put desperation into what we're trying to do, we create resistance. We don't want that, right? So take your time with it. And then let me know how you feel in the comments and where you think you can narrow down this long-term desire, right? As always, I am rooting for you guys, and I'm sending you so much love and light. And until next week, peace.